Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, then thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Infinity, and today we are going to be doing a collective tarot reading and energy update for both the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So we are going to be diving into each of these energetic polarities that we all have within each of us. So we all internally have a balance of both the divine feminine and divine masculine. This isn't necessarily related to gender, so you could be a woman who is more of a divine masculine or a man who is more of a divine feminine. But again, we all have a balance of both energies. So when I do these readings, you can take the messages to apply to your internal masculine or feminine or to some external person or situation in your life. So let's go ahead and get started. I have many different decks out here, but I am going to start with the Energy Oracle deck. So let's go ahead and shuffle and get into the messages. What can I channel? Let's begin with the divine feminine and then move on to the divine masculine. So what can I channel for the divine feminine in today's reading? What does this card wanted to come out. Strategy. I'm hearing someone has a plan. So this could be you. This could be maybe the divine, like your higher self or a higher power, whatever you personally connect with, however you conceptualize those forces guiding your life. But in either case, I feel like some plan here that is coming online or being enacted. And whether this is a conscious plan, like maybe you felt inspired to move forward with some kind of plan or an idea. Maybe you felt suddenly inspired to certain action steps or just felt that the energy was beginning to move again after a period of stagnancy. Regardless of how this applies, I feel like some kind of plan, a divine plan, is being enacted, and it's beginning to make you feel like the energy is moving again. And again, this feels like it's coming after a period of time where things were very stagnant for you. It may even surprise you when you begin to feel as though your energy is returning to you. You may start to feel like you are slowly feeling less burnt out like you felt in the past, more socially connected, more natural energy levels and feelings of motivation and inspiration, either related to this specific plan or vision or just generally in your life. I'm also getting something about your physical body really beginning to feel better and stronger. So I don't know if someone has been dealing with something physically or just like chronic fatigue or burnout. But I'm getting that you're going to start to notice not only are your natural energy levels returning to you, but even your physical body is beginning to feel better than it ever has before. So what else can I channel here? I'm hearing everything is coming into alignment now, and I feel that that is physically, spiritually, emotionally. It's almost like all of these different systems in your life that felt like they were calibrating themselves independently or separately are now all coming into sync with each other, and they're all feeling stronger than ever before. So for example, you may have gone through a series of recalibrations physically in your body, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that all felt kind of out of sync with each other or almost like they were random. And now I'm getting that you are going to feel like everything is coming into sync at the same time. And it's really creating this internal sense of strength and foundation that is going to be supporting you in moving forward. I got something about the month of April for someone. Can I get any information on what this so-called plan is? I feel that for many of you, this is a divine plan that's being enacted in your life. I'm hearing the time is now. And this is kind of reminding me of a divine feminine mini message I did in the last video yesterday, where we talked about how your ancestors are telling you that you're ready now for something, like you're ready for something you weren't ready for in the past, that you may have even felt blocked from in some ways. So if that's connecting, maybe after this reading, you'll feel guided to check out that previous reading video. I will try to link it underneath this one in the description box if I remember. But I'm getting the sense that for many of you, you may not necessarily know exactly what this so-called plan is, but you will feel yourself inspired to certain actions or just feeling this new energy that's starting to course through you and move you in different positive ways. With the financial constraints card in the upright position. Oh, and I heard something about even like physically, you may feel a desire to go for a walk or to move or to stretch or to like get somehow your physical body moving in different ways. That can be a sign that you're feeling this energy picking up internally and then translating that consciously as this desire to move even on this purely physical level. I saw like some kind of lodge in the woods or like a wood cabin or something like that. I'm not sure if that resonates for someone. Ooh, I heard off the grid. So someone is off the grid here. I'm hearing off the grid, but more spiritually online than ever before. So it's like you are very, very spiritually connected, but very disconnected from the matrix right now, or from like the general collective. You've really separated yourself from the herd. And I feel that this took a while. I'm getting that for a while, you may have tried to go back and forth where like you would try to not be so off the grid, so to speak. You would try to fit in more or be more connected to this like matrix world. And I'm getting that now it's like you've reached this point where you are so embracing your unique nature. But I'm hearing you're not just off the grid, you're creating a new grid. So you've been used to this like isolation, or you've learned how to become comfortable in your own energy apart from the matrix, apart from the norm. For some of you, maybe you've like deactivated or deleted public social media accounts, or like, I'm just getting the sense of someone who is like less publicly visible than ever before, but more spiritually and energetically felt and sensed than ever before. Like, even though you feel so disconnected in traditional ways, maybe you don't go out in public as much, or people don't see you as often, or you are maybe disconnected from certain social media accounts, like however this is connecting for you. But ironically, you are more visible in a way, like in a spiritual sense than ever. People are feeling your energy, your frequency more strongly than ever before. I'm hearing even people that you've been disconnected from for a really long time. I heard something about like high school or a high school reunion. I don't know if that's relevant for someone. Maybe there's someone you went to high school with, or someone from your past or your hometown who you would be shocked to know is very heavily thinking about you, wondering about you. I'm almost getting that like a lot of people are trying to find you or search for you, maybe like through social media, or they're trying to go places that you might be. They're curious about you. They're asking about you, but I'm hearing you vanished. It's almost like you're a ghost in a way to the matrix, because you completely went off the grid, but they can feel you. They can sense you creating your own grid. This is driving some people from your past crazy, because they feel like they have less access to you than ever before, meaning they may have less access to actual conversation or interaction with you, or even information about you than ever, because I'm getting that you're very private and secretive. And again, you may have deactivated social media accounts, or you're just very selective about who you connect with in those spaces. But regardless, I'm getting that you have people feeling like they are almost like obsessively curious about you or wondering about you, because they felt like you were a ghost, like you completely vanished. And yet now they're subconsciously sensing that you are making waves in the quantum realm. They're sensing that you're out here building a whole new grid when you went off the grid. And that is you building this new earth. I'm hearing a new way of connecting. Maybe something about your life or your work or something you're doing is helping people to connect from a more authentic place, from a totally different, more soul-aligned place. And I feel like it's something that you could only do by disconnecting yourself to some degree from like your old persona, your old version of yourself, or like unplugging from the matrix in that sense, whatever that means for you. Of course, that looks different from person to person. The number 13 may be significant to someone. I also see with financial constraints in the upright position that there's something about Well, this also came out in the previous Divine Feminine mini reading, but we talked about how you may have had something on your mind that was weighing on you or bothering you recently, something that felt like a very heavy looping thought pattern or a concern. And if that was the case, I'm hearing that those restrictions are being lifted. That came out in the mini reading. So I don't want to get too deeply into that again in this reading. I don't want to repeat myself. Again, you can check out that reading for more on that. But I do want to go deeper into those messages. I want to go beyond where that reading went. So I want to know more about what restrictions are being released here. Goddess of the Moon in the upright position. I feel like something was keeping you disconnected from your power, and it may have actually been just simply some kind of state of, I'm hearing parasympathetic activation. I feel like your nervous system was really activated by something that your mind was looping around, or maybe some kind of obstacle in your life, or some problem that you felt you couldn't solve, or some restriction or limitation you were perceiving. And I feel that whatever this was, it was very heavy, and it was somehow disconnecting you temporarily from knowing your true power. And so I'm getting that you have really grounded yourself or stabilized yourself in some way. It's like you've eased this sense of anxiety through, I feel, some sense of surrender. It's almost like you've given something over to like a higher power, whether that's your higher self, God, the universe. I feel like you've surrendered to this divine plan because you finally realize that there's something bigger unfolding in your life. It's almost like you were focused on this obstacle, which was actually small in the grand scheme of things, but you had tunnel vision, so it seemed big in your mind, and it was activating your nervous system and getting you like shaken up or feeling more anxious than usual, and that was kind of disconnecting you from your sense of your true limitless nature and your power. But I'm getting that somehow it's like your eyes were open to this broader view or this bigger sense of a picture here, a bigger picture. And that allowed you to really surrender and to come into this state of calm in the middle of the storm, in the middle of the uncertainty. And ironically, that sense of calm is actually what is now allowing you to see the solution, which what I said in the mini reading for you is that solution doesn't just solve this so-called obstacle or problem that was in front of you, but it actually unlocks the door to your next level of existence, to like a whole brand new reality. So what else can I channel? I'm also getting a message generally about the importance of staying very, very grounded within yourself at this time, really connecting with yourself first before you connect out with the world. That seems to be more essential than ever before. But also with the heart chakra and the upright card, I feel that I am speaking to a divine feminine who has encountered many different people or energies recently who seemed to be living in like a survival mode emotionally, who seemed very triggered, very reactive, and very disconnected from their own heart. And this may have been very confusing for you because I'm hearing like the heart space of the collective has been a little bit activated lately. And people have been a little more, I want to say, like, because they've internally been feeling more raw and more emotional, the ones who aren't accustomed to that feeling of heart openness are counter-reacting to it by closing down their heart even more than usual. So you may actually notice that certain people you interact with seem very harsh or seem very closed off in their heart space or disconnected from their sense of like softness and love and warmth. And you can feel this about them when you interact with them. And it may surprise you even in some circumstances because you may feel like you're emanating this very soft, open, loving energy, and you're being met with a very cold, harsh, reactive energy from some of these individuals. And so I'm getting a message about how important it is for you, especially right now on the planet, to really maintain heart openness, especially in these situations, to be able to have the wherewithal to pause in the middle of an interaction, especially with one of these individuals who may be reacting more harshly or in a more triggered way, and to internally ask yourself, How can I keep my heart open in this moment? And to remind yourself that when you choose heart openness, even when someone is meeting you with harshness, you are the one who actually receives the greatest benefit from that heart openness, because keeping your heart open allows you to maintain this energy of ease and flow and softness that attracts more of what you desire into your life, that attracts more love, more positivity, more amazing opportunities. So when we close off our hearts in reaction or in mirroring someone who's doing the same, we're actually only hurting ourselves. So I feel like you've been confronted by situations like this recently where you've had to actively work to keep your heart open in a sense, but it's been worth it because it keeps you in that state where you are in harmony with receiving your highest desires in life and staying aligned with higher vibrational timelines for yourself. So that is a message coming up for someone. I'm also hearing something about a misunderstanding and you giving someone the benefit of a doubt in a situation where maybe they didn't deserve it, or maybe they misunderstood you in some way, but you gave them the benefit of the doubt in your own mind, in your own energy. This doesn't, of course, mean that you let someone walk all over you or anything like that, but I feel that in your own mind, you mentally released this situation. You mentally forgave this situation, so you would no longer have to hold it in your energy field. And by giving this person that benefit of the doubt, you were actually the one receiving the benefit, as the statement goes, because it allowed you to maintain a higher vibration. I'm hearing vibrate higher. So you may be in situations where you find yourself needing to be the one who is vibrating at a higher level and holding that higher energy rather than stooping or dropping to someone's level and closing off your heart in that process. So I'm going to go ahead and reshuffle the cards here. In the extended version of the reading, we will be channeling into who is connected to your energy right now, Divine Feminine. So who might be thinking or feeling something about you, as well as messages from your spirit guides, your ancestors, your higher self, and any other information that wants to come through for you. So if this has been connecting and you want to go deeper with the messages, the link to get the extended reading is in the pinned comment and description box below. But I want to go ahead and move on here with the Divine Masculine. So welcome to my Divine Masculines who are listening. I know that we have a majority of Divine Feminines listening here, but there are more Divine Masculines tuning in all the time. Let me know in the comments if you are a Divine Masculine here. But I'm hearing important role on the planet, which would make sense if you are a Divine Masculine listening to this reading specifically. You are clearly a masculine who has done a lot of inner work. And I see someone pushing back against like waves and streams of powerful energy. And I feel like this represents how there is so much of a current of negative programming for the masculine that you've been pushing against with your light, with your consciousness, with your awareness. And I'm hearing your whole life. So I'm definitely picking up on a Divine Masculine here who has had this light about them or this consciousness from a young age that many people around them completely misunderstood or mislabeled. And as a result, there may have come a time, even in your childhood early on, where you felt that you needed to hide that light, at least to some extent, in order to protect it, that you had to hide that softness, that more emotionally and spiritually connected side of yourself. Because I'm hearing something about someone who is bullied or picked on or just misunderstood by others. And so you learned to guard those parts of yourself, to protect them in a sense, sometimes by hiding them. But I'm getting that now you're reaching this point where you're feeling those traits and aspects of yourself called to the surface of your being in a different kind of way. You're being called to reveal those softer, more open, more emotionally connected sides to yourself. And this is both terrifying and exhilarating for you, because on the one hand, these are parts of you that you've always had to keep to yourself, that you've always had to hide to some extent. So it feels really good to imagine being able to be more open in those ways, but it's also really scary because through being able to kind of hide those parts of yourself, you were also able to protect them. And when I say hide, I don't mean that in a negative sense. I actually feel it was very intuitive for you to maybe not fully show all of these parts of your softer nature. because I feel that there were people around you who would have done everything in their power to destroy those parts of you that were softer and more sensitive. I feel like I'm specifically picking up on a masculine that's always had a love for animals, or maybe animals tend to really like you or come up to you or something like that. And again, if you are a divine feminine listening, many of these messages may apply to your internal masculine or to specific divine masculine energies that you may be aware of in your life or your connections. So what can I channel for the amazing divine masculines who are tuning in here? The crown chakra. Okay, so I'm picking up on a divine masculine who has been going through a very slow burn spiritual awakening and opening up the mind that has been happening for a very long time. And I feel that it's happened mostly in, I'm hearing, silence and isolation, meaning I feel that you've not been open with anyone in your life about the things that you've been exploring or thinking about spiritually, or that you've been opening your mind to, because you knew that you would be ridiculed by people who were more closed off to these things. So I'm hearing something about a double agent. It's almost like you've been feeling like a double agent in the sense that the deeper, truer part of you has been exploring spiritual concepts and opening your mind in these ways. But then the human part of you that has to show up, and I'm hearing act. Maybe you feel like you have to act in your daily life or play some kind of role that's like an aspect of you, but it's not. I'm hearing it's becoming less and less resonant with the core of you. It feels like as you become more aware of who you really are at the core, you feel like you resonate less and less with this version of you have to act as in your human form. And especially with the people around you, that I'm definitely getting a masculine who's had a certain group around them from a young age. It might be a group of friends, a social group, a family group that you have a very complicated relationship with, because what I'm getting is that on the one hand, these are individuals that you feel you know so deeply, that you're so familiar with, that you love and care about so much, but you also recognize that they would ridicule these softer, more emotionally connected, more spiritually open parts of you. So it's almost like walking a tightrope sometimes, because on the one hand, you don't want to lose these connections, but on the other hand, you feel like, wow, in some regards, you know these people so well. I'm hearing they don't know you. It's almost like you feel like you are the one they can go to tell all of their problems or to share their most intimate secrets, whereas they don't even really begin to scratch the surface of you. And I also feel that you are coming to recognize that in some of these connections, the other person may not even necessarily seem too interested in knowing those deeper parts of you. They may not ask you questions, or when you try to kind of open up to them, they may shut down the conversation or something like that. Even though I'm hearing one-sided, you may be involved in a lot of friendships or connections that you're beginning to feel are one-sided. And what I'm getting as well is that many of these individuals are actually unconsciously drawn to you for the same reason that they would almost like potentially ridicule you or misunderstand you. What I mean by that is the reason people are drawn to tell you their secrets or to share everything about themselves is because they can sense that there is an emotional depth about you. They sense that on some level you are someone who is connected to a higher energy, a higher consciousness, a higher power, that you're naturally spiritually connected and also connected to your own heart. And so they naturally feel as though it is safe to open themselves around you. And yet, ironically, if you try to have an open conversation with them about your emotions or your spirituality, you know that they would shut it down, or they wouldn't be interested in hearing about it, or they might even ridicule it or misunderstand it. So it puts you in this complicating position where the very things about you that people love and adore without even really knowing what they love and adore, they just feel drawn to you. Those are the very aspects that you feel you have to keep private, that you have to keep to yourself. Essentially, the most valuable and magnetic parts of you are the parts that you have to safeguard, that you feel you can't really openly celebrate or talk about. So I feel like this has been creating almost like an internal tension for you. Yeah, a deep feeling of isolation that's been building here with the community card in the reverse position. I also feel that for many of you divine masculines, there is a divine feminine coming up here, whether this is someone you've met, someone you know, or someone who's connected to you spiritually who may be entering your life. But this seems to be a feminine energy who seeks to understand you in a way no one else has or does. And so this is someone who actually openly celebrates and admires those parts of you that you may have felt a need to hide or close off in the past. And so her presence in your life has felt deeply soothing and healing to you, even if it's just been a spiritual presence or someone you've connected with in a dream or something like that. This person's presence has been deeply healing because in their presence, you feel like you are in this container where it's safe to actually be open with the parts of you that you usually have to hide. And I'm also getting that in the past, there may have been feminine energies that you had met or connected with that you may have felt like you had to kind of live on the surface with, or who would maybe ridicule you or misunderstand you when you would try to share these deeper parts of yourself with them. And so I feel that it's the exact opposite with this divine feminine. This is someone who actually adores and celebrates those parts of you. And I'm hearing that it may be difficult to trust it because it goes against how you may have been taught and programmed by the matrix to believe that to be soft and to be emotionally connected as a masculine, this was somehow a weakness, when in actuality, the opposite is true. This is actually a strength, and it's the source of your magnetic pull, even in your friendships, your business opportunities, the connections in your life. The reason that you have this magnetism about you, divine masculine, is because people can sense subconsciously that you are different. They can sense that you are connected to something, I'm hearing, more real than this matrix. You're connected to something authentic and true, your own heart space, your own soul, your higher power, your higher self. And the beauty is this divine feminine counterpart coming up here is someone who not only sees those traits about you and isn't put off by those traits when you're open with them, but actually she's drawn in closer by those traits and qualities because she herself is connected to her own heart and soul and those inner aspects, those inner more spiritual aspects as well. And so when you connect, you're able to actually amplify that softness and spiritual connectedness and emotional connectedness within each other. But the opposite is also true in relationship or connection with a feminine, or in the case of a divine feminine listening, it would be you connecting with a masculine who is closed off in their heart or not as spiritually connected, who's more wounded. That will naturally have the opposite effect. Whereas with a divine feminine or a divine masculine counterpart, you will feel amplified in their presence. You will feel more intuitive, more spiritually connected. But with a wounded feminine or a wounded masculine, you'll actually find yourself feeling more shrunken, feeling more diluted. You might exit that conversation or interaction feeling more disconnected from your intuition, or finding it harder to receive downloads or inspiration or ideas from your higher power, your higher self, the universe, because it's like that person's wounded energy that, by the way, you were kind of subconsciously transmuting through your own energy, which is why they feel so much better around you, but you feel drained afterwards. That person's energy kind of lingers on your field until you clear it out. And this is a very powerful way to know the difference between a wounded masculine or feminine counterpart and a healed divine masculine or feminine counterpart, is that in a healed scenario, when they are open to the more spiritual side of themselves, when they are open to their own heart and connected with their heart, you will naturally feel this softness and this ease and this amplification of those aspects within yourself, your own emotional connectedness, your own spirituality, your own soul. So I don't know who needed to hear that message. Maybe there has been someone listening who's been really wondering, like, is this a wounded masculine or feminine, or is this a healed connection, a more divine connection? So in the extended version of the reading, I will be pulling through some more messages for the divine masculine as well. We will be looking into anything else you may need to know from your higher self, your guides, your ancestors, your higher power, whatever spiritual forces you connect with. So in the extended reading, we also will just be continuing this channeling and picking up anything else that wants to come through. So if you do want to join me for that, the link to listen is in the pinned comment and description box below. When you sign up for a membership, either on Patreon or YouTube memberships, you get access to 3 additional exclusive readings every single week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I'm going to go ahead and close the reading here with a Rumi Oracle card. So what is one final Rumi message to close out this reading? Passion for purpose. Love, like life, flows through the heart. The heart is questing for deeper meaning. It desires certainty as to your sacred tasks for this lifetime. I call to you now, the you that is beyond your mind, the you that is your heart. To that you, I ask, what stirs the passions of your nature? Do that. Be that. So I'm going to close the reading there. Thank you so much again for tuning in today. If this reading resonated for you, leave me a comment and let me know what message was yours. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, and you can listen to my channeled songs on my Spotify, which is Songs by Infinity. Subscribe if you enjoy these messages for daily videos and energy updates. And of course, if you would like to head over to the extended version of this reading now with me, the link to get that is below. Otherwise, have a beautiful day, and I will connect with you here again in the next video.